Welcome to the Rhino Daily Podcast, the daily podcast for sharp entrepreneurs. You'll hear insights and ideas from the world's top entrepreneurs and thought leaders, designed to help you increase your profits and improve your lifestyle. Now here's your host, Steve Cypress.
Let's get started with part one.
Welcome to the Rhino Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Steve Cypress, and we have another fantastic, absolute all-star entrepreneur guest this week that you are going to absolutely love and benefit from tremendously. It is, from what I can determine, in my humble opinion, the world's number one expert on ADHD for business owners. It's the one and only Ezra DeWolfe. Hello, Ezra.
Hello. Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Well, thank you for being here, and I thank you on behalf of all my listeners who I know have their ears perked up now and they're ready. So let's get right into it, and we'll let people go to your website and all that to find out all about you and this. Let's get right into helping them out. First question on my mind is, what does it mean to be a business owner or an entrepreneur with ADHD? Because the world looks at us, and I personally, of course, being an entrepreneur, have ADHD, and the world thinks it's some kind of a, what do they call it? I don't know, a condition, a disease, a dysfunction. You need drugs for whatever. And I'm like, whoa. You need it to be an entrepreneur. To me, it's fantastic. How do you put this forth to business owners to empower them?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, very similar to you. I look at it as that we have that entrepreneurial trait. We have a particular type of brain that comes with marked strengths and, maybe sometimes some marked weaknesses. The good news is a lot of those strengths that we have, like the big picture thinking, the creativity, I would say even sometimes, or adapting to changes very quickly, like those are all the key things that we need in entrepreneurship. And a lot of the things that might be weaknesses for us, in terms of sometimes attention to detail, sometimes when it comes to things like time management, those are usually things that we can either get help with. Those are usually things that we can mitigate. So we have we're a particular type. Some people in the world are left-handed. Some people are right-handed. Some people are analytical. Some people are creative. Some people have this particular thing that's been sort of medically labeled as ADHD. And I think there's a whole beauty that can come from that, but that's if we can learn how to lean into those strengths, but also mitigate that weakness. So I see us as people who kind of have that double-edged sword, and if we can lean into it, great. And if not, that's where I help folks out.
Well, I love it. When you mention all the strengths, the good parts about it, I get all excited, and then you mention the things to watch out for, and I get all depressed because, that's me, time management and losing focus and trying to do too much and too many balls up in the air at one time. So, we don't have a lot of time here on the Rhino Daily Podcast. Our listeners know that we just have short bursts here on the podcast because we have ADHD, speaking of our current expert guest. So in the few minutes we have left here, let us know a little bit, maybe one thing we can do to, this time. I love your take on time management. Like people talk about, this time blocking and this and that. Like, what should we do?
Yeah. What I would offer as responsible entrepreneurs is that there is something for us to overcome. We've struggled with time management, not because we're a garbage person who, doesn't care, but often because of things like we might struggle with time blindness. And so what I would offer is that on just something similar to that of leaning in and developing our skills around time awareness and overcoming time blindness. And there's things we can do, exercises we can do. There's something to overcome here. That's often what opens up the whole next level. What if you could combine that, that amazing creativity, that openness to change, that big picture thinking, and you also could fit into a world that sometimes demands that we have a little bit more of that bureaucratic sense of time. So the big picture thing I would offer is there's something, maybe we've got some weaknesses, but there's something to overcome. Maybe you went through your whole life not quite knowing what was going on, but now you do. And if we put in the work, we can make a dent in those things to lean into our strengths.
Well, so now you got me on the edge of my seat because I've gone to seminars and read books and watched videos and, gone through all the training on time management. So it's, block amounts of time for this, or group certain, all the things where you're writing together and all the things where you're making calls together and all kinds of different time management stuff. And yet, of course, I still have my issues. So is there one, tip that you could give to people like me to kind of not be always late for appointments or forgetting this or doing what and, messing everything up?
Yeah, so I think what I would offer is to make a study out of observing time. Here's a very quick example. So if I worked in project management and I had to, I had a role where I had to be able to estimate how much concrete a project was going to take, I don't think I'd be very good at doing it my very first time out. And if I didn't pay attention to how much concrete went into different types of projects, I wouldn't tend to notice. On the other hand, if I made it my goal to really sort of observe, how long does it actually take to get somewhere? How long does it take in the before stage? How long does it take in the during stage? How long does it take in the after stage? If I started noticing and observing, there'd come a point where I might just sort of naturally start to be able to eyeball the job and say, yeah, it's going to take this much concrete. And what you might find is that when we do that as a practice, in the same way that we might study grammar to sort of uncover language, if we study that as a practice of time, we can actually improve our capacity to accurately forecast time, how long things are going to take, and then maybe naturally we might feel less overwhelmed as time goes. So it's a thing to lean into observing rather than shying away from.
My goodness, thank you. That's fantastic, because I once in a while do that. Like if I'm going to somewhere new, I'm like, hey, what time are we leaving? How long is it taking if I'm going to go back there? Like, for instance, my mother-in-law broke her hip. She's up at a rehab place, and we're like, my wife's going to go visit her all the time. Well, I'm like, well, how long is this going to take? So you're right. Of course you're right. I mean, when I focus and say, how long does this take, and I think about it, now we can plan properly. But my problem is I wasn't listening to this podcast before. I mean, I don't do that systematically all the time. I can't wait to try this now, or try, I don't like the word. I can't wait to actually do it, because, of course, if it works once in a while, it's going to work all the time. I love it. Oh, I'm totally excited. And speaking of time, of course, look at that. The time has flown, and we are at the end of our segment here. The great news, dear listeners, is we're going to be back again. Ezra's coming back again tomorrow, and he just helped me, so hopefully he helped you immensely today. Tomorrow, I'm going to ask him about what types of opportunities are ideal for business owners and entrepreneurs with ADHD. What should we look for? What should we stay away from? So make sure you're back here again tomorrow with Ezra again. Thank you, Ezra.
Okay, thanks so much.
And go to theadhdtools.com to get Ezra's 5-step game plan to transform your business.
That's the end of part 1. Join us next time for part 2.
Thank you for joining us today on the Rhino Daily Podcast, the daily podcast for sharp entrepreneurs, hosted by Steve Cypress. Join us tomorrow for another exciting episode designed to help you increase your profits and improve your lifestyle. Also, go to rhinodaily.com for more great business exploding tips, strategies, and tactics from the world's top experts. Plus, snag your free copy of Money Making Monthly magazine.
Goodbye.